Welcome, my name is Kaylee Aiken. I am your host of Public Affairs. Today I am here with Michael Benson from the Richland Academy of the Arts. Why don't you introduce yourself, Michael, and give the audience some information and about your background and family.
Thank you, Kaylee. My name is Michael Benson, and I've been with the Richland Academy of the Arts since July of 2022. So it's a privilege to join the Academy and serve as the executive director. I followed Mrs. Marianne Cooper, who was with the Academy for 30 plus years. She was the founding director of the Academy. And so coming to Richland Academy was something new for me. I had served on the Malone University music faculty for 11 years and retired from Malone in 2023. So I guess you might say that my background is in education, arts education, specifically music, but I grew up around a lot of different visual artists and musicians, and so it's really exciting to be a part of an arts education environment where we're providing education for young people from ages, of course, birth through 60 plus for Area Agency on Aging.
So, Michael, tell me a little bit more about your family and the impact they had on being a part of the Richland Academy of the Arts for you.
Thank you, Kaylee. I appreciate that opportunity. I like to talk about my family because I'm quite confident that without my mom and without my dad and my aunt and uncle, that I would probably not be here doing what we're doing right now. So my mom and dad were very supportive of all of my educational experiences. And to that point, they were both teachers. So both being teachers, my dad taught at Texarkana Community College, and my mom was an English and journalism instructor at the Arkansas High School across town. And of course, they held me to a pretty high academic standard throughout my early childhood years. They sent me to a private school. It was a Christian school, and that helped shape and give me a foundation for a lot of my family beliefs and long-term beliefs, lifelong beliefs. And then they put me in touch with my first piano teacher. Her name was Esther Wood, and she had known my family because she had taught my cousin, my aunt and uncle's son. And what I would say about that is that was very important, and I didn't realize how important, because at 6 years old, you're starting piano, and all you know is that you're sitting still for 30 minutes or longer. And I'll just tell you a funny story with that, if you don't mind. She figured out fairly quickly that I was not able to sit at the piano for 30 minutes at a time. So what she would do is she would dismiss me. She would say, my mom's name was Marie, my dad's name was John, whoever was with me that week, she would say, you know, Marie, take him home and bring him back tomorrow. He's not able to continue today. So I had very supportive parents who would make time for me to go multiple times a week to see Mrs. Wood. And then, of course, financially, they were setting aside money to pay for those lessons, along with my sister, my younger sister Elizabeth, for her to take lessons and to do, she also did visual art lessons. But what I would say is that I did book reports for my mom. I answered both church-related and academic-related answers and questions from my mom and dad. And arts was always a part of everything that we did. And whether it was intended or not, I was probably always creatively writing something somewhere all the time or painting something. And so when you ask me a question about how did that lead to Richland Academy of the Arts, I think someone can see that bridge come together, right? You're raised in a home where high academic standards, creativity, biblical faith, and foundational lifelong faith, which then motivated me attending both undergraduate and both graduate degree programs in Texas, and then moving to the Midwest to teach in universities in Illinois and Wisconsin, Michigan, and finally Ohio. And I attribute all of that to my mom and dad, and of course the many blessings that God provided when I was growing up. I was very fortunate and very blessed, and I know that without mom and dad that I would not have had those opportunities. So they provided something unique, which then led me to, almost 30 years of higher education instruction, but then a retirement from that and the academy. I just would love for everyone to have that opportunity. And I think creativity and the opportunity to kind of think creatively and to process information and to write it down or to express it, whether it's in music or in theater or in dance or in visual art, everybody has a different God-given talent or ability. And so how they express that is important to me. And that seems to be the link from my earliest years through my family, through my teachers. I've been very fortunate with teachers who are very patient. I know you're laughing, but they're very patient. And you can probably get that from me, how I'm kind of bouncing around and talking. But yeah, I've been very fortunate that way. And
I love that because that way you can connect with the students at the Richland Academy. But also as a student now, like, I get what you're saying, connecting with your mentors, because you learn more that way, and having patient parents, which is what drove you to wanting to be the director. So I love that, and thank you for telling your story. So what is the Richland Academy of the Arts, and what is the history behind it, since you're learning along, since you weren't there when the founding director was, and where are you guys located at?
So we are located at 75 North Walnut Street in downtown Mansfield, across from the Carousel, if you know where the Carousel would be in downtown. And the history of the program, to me, has most recently been a part of me reviewing photographs. So I have 2 boxes of photographs that I've been going through, and it starts with black and white photos, and it works through color photos. So I've learned a lot of the history from looking at photos, too. But I want to acknowledge something. There's a person who works for the Academy during the summer. Her name is Ann Detmer, and she puts together all of the information historically in 3-ring binders. And she and Mary Ann had that agreement, by my understanding. So I've also learned a lot from reviewing the annual 3-ring binders and what would have been presented to the Board of Trustees and other materials there. But I've had a better time learning about the Academy through the photos. So what have I seen? I've seen a lot of photos of young people, 2, 3, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, sitting on the floor, making music. I've seen little ones dancing, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. So young people who have learned to walk, but now are toddlers that are now dancing, and that's fun to see. And the photos tell really unique stories. So for me, at least, I see the instructors of the past who are still living in the community and serving in the community in different roles, educationally in the community. And while I don't know all of them, I recognize their faces. I recognize community people's faces in the photos. And of course, the babies that are in the photos, I don't know who they are, but by observing and looking through photos, you learn a lot about the history. So you see visual art, you see theater, you see jazz camps, you see music recitals, you see Nutcracker performances, and All Ohio Dance Festival performances. It's just such an educational opportunity to go through the photos. So I know that's not a really maybe thoughtful response, but it's the best way I know how to say it. It's by observing and learning. So I've been learning through photos and learning through the 3-ring binders, and of course talking to all of the administrative staff and listening to their personal experiences. And if you don't mind, I might just share a little bit more about that. Most everyone who works in the building, and by that I mean the Assistant Director, Sherry Hughes. Sherry's been with the Academy for around 20 years. So she knows the facility because her children were students at the Academy. And now her daughter Megan does some of our youth theater programs, but she went through all the dance and all the music and all the other activities. So same thing with our Director of Business Operations, Pam Adore. Her daughters went through the dance program and the theater program and had other experiences. So Jessica Kent, who works at the front desk, her daughters danced and performed and sang. And so everyone in the building has some type of personal tie to the Academy through their children and know the Academy in a unique way. So that's a wealth of information and history for me to learn from every day. So I lean on them a lot, and I'm very grateful for each of them.
I feel like that answer is really interesting because I've never heard anyone talk about the history of a building through other people or the photographs. When I was thinking of that question, I was thinking like the history of it, like, oh, it was built in like 1980 or something. So it's really interesting that you said that because it really painted a picture for me. So thank you for that. So what is your like most passionate about your job? Like what drives the passion for wanting to do what you do?
Great question. So Kaylee, I would suggest that what motivates me is the calling to education. So vocationally, I've always been interested in people having an opportunity to experience the arts in a safe environment with inspiring faculty, and as it turns out, the Academy provides that. So education is primarily what is my passion. Different forms of arts education provide different needs for different people, but seeing a young person learn to play the piano, or seeing a senior learn to play the piano, seeing someone perform for the first time, share their God-given abilities with music is really meaningful for me. So that motivates me every day when I wake up. The opportunity to teach and instruct or encourage someone in arts is what gives me great hope and provides a lot of passion for every day.
Good. You were talking about how you are now the new director and you took over from Marion Cooper, correct? Okay.
Correct.
So how was that transition? Like, was it hard? Was it easy?
I think a little of both.
Okay.
Again, you're following the founding director. So she was the one that had the passion or had the vision for the Academy, 30 some odd years ago. And she brought to Richland Academy and the Richland County community and Morrow County and surrounding counties a really diverse opportunity of arts education for the community. So following her is challenging because she knew every piece of every detail of the history of the program, and I don't have that perspective. So for me at least, I'm learning every day. I have a great group of people that I work with, and they're very patient with me on a day-to-day basis. So each of them has informed me of the past and hopes for the future, and that's kind of what I'm focused on now, is not moving away from the past, but embracing our past and then looking to new programs and new opportunities and new partnerships where maybe other people's gifts and abilities can be highlighted through the Academy.
That's great.
Of course.
Maybe for the audience, they saw that picture as well. So the Richland Academy of Arts Education and Instruction through many programs through the area agency on aging grants. And what are these grants and how do they help?
Okay. Good question. I am not going to try to give you the exact title of the grant. I mean, I know that one that we've been working with this year has to do with seniors and isolation. So the idea is to get seniors in our community, and that's Richland County specifically, to move away from just being at home and to come to the Academy for visual art opportunities and music experiences. So it's to have them be in community so that they be together and that they can be happy and learning in a visual art environment or in a music environment. And that seems to provide a great deal of value to someone's life. If they come out and they get to know a new community and make new friends, and they know that this is a safe place for them to do art, that's what I think the focus of the isolation grant would have been through the area agency. And there's a lot of conversation around that. We were very grateful for them for awarding the Academy that grant. We also have grants through area agency that have to do with technology. So instruction of technology classes for, again, people who are 60 plus, people who qualify or who want to come in. We've had caregiver events through the area agency where the Academy has been both the host and the organizer. We had one last year at the Academy downtown, and then this year we met out at the area agency building on Park Ave, and we provided the program for that. And again, that's the people who care for the 60 plus people in our community. And then we have a special day for them to recognize caregivers and to encourage them and to provide an opportunity for them to do flower arrangements, to do music, to do visual art. It's to allow them to have a day where they can take care of themselves like they've been taking care of the 60 plus community. So these are all forms of grants. The technology grant matters, the isolation grant matters, the caregiver event matters. And then one of the other activities that we do often for our 60 plus community, and this is one of those organizations where Pam, who's the director of business operations that I've already mentioned, she wears another hat. So she works with the visual art instructor or the theater instructor or the dance instructor to set up like road trips. So we'll organize a bus trip to Cleveland or a bus trip to Columbus for the 60 plus community, and then one of our faculty will attend as a chaperone or as an educator and go with the 60 plus community on this bus to an event like Toledo Museum or the Cleveland Theater opportunities or the Columbus Museum or whatever it might be that year. So area agency money is important because it provides these opportunities that we could not do without their help.
Yes. You were talking about like these things that you do. How, if say I was wanting to come and be a part of one of these events, how would I do that? Do I have to apply online? Do I just come in and be like, hey, like I want to learn more? Like, how do they go about that?
Well, Kaylee, I'll try to provide even more information offline, but here we go with this. I mean, the website, richlandacademy.com, provides a great deal of information. Again, richlandacademy.com. You can call the phone number 419-522-8224, 419-522-8224, and someone on the phone will help with that, either Jessica or Pam or whoever might be volunteering or working the main desk that day. But all of the arts education experiences you can register for online and be involved with online, but I like that personal touch too if you have a question. So I encourage people to call. Most payments are now accepted online, but there are situations where it's best to talk to someone on the phone if you have a more specific question. And since we have such helpful people manning the phones, it's always great if you can make that call.
Yeah, well, I love that just because I know a lot of our audience is like crafty and creative. Just wanted them to know how they can be a part of what you guys are doing. So how is the Richland Academy of Arts building its relationship with the downtown Mansfield area and the Carousel District?
Okay. Again, another great question. And I think Marianne, the founding director, had a vision of that. I think she did. And I want to compliment her here for that relationship building downtown. It was one of the reasons for placing the Academy downtown. Because when you recognize that the Renaissance Theater is downtown, the Buckeye Imagination Museum is downtown, Playhouse is downtown, along with being across the street from the Carousel, all of these different potential and current partners are there. I will say this, kind of a sidestep to your question, and I hope the Renaissance partners don't mind me saying this, but preparing for Chorus Line, which is a show that's at the Renaissance this spring, they've been rehearsing in the building. So our dance faculty and Erin Wolford, who does a good bit with choreography for music theater and dance, she's been working with providing choreography experiences for the Renaissance dancers. And Sarah Horgan Ramos, who's the director of the dance program, she's been working with Erin, the two dance faculty members, to provide this meaningful learning experience for the Ren folks. And so I hope they don't mind me saying that. That's just an honest response to that question. And if I've misspoken, I know someone will call me and let me know. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they don't. What kind of leadership opportunities does the Academy have to offer, and does the faculty play a role in that?
Again, we've been having meetings since my arrival with each discipline, so separate visual art meetings, separate theater, separate music department meetings. And I would like to suggest that they do provide a leadership role. Here's what we have. We have a 47,000 square foot space in downtown that serves all different disciplines of art. And those faculty need to communicate what they believe to be the best learning space or opportunities. So sitting down with leadership, sitting down with the faculty for theater and visual art, they've said, these are the things we need. This is the space we need. This is the materials that we need. So I would suggest that they've been telling me specifically what would provide a more meaningful opportunity for their teaching spaces. So yes, they play an important leadership role because they're helping inform the future of the space. And while everything may not happen right away, there's a long-term goal for that will hopefully be reflected in the coming years and something we can talk a little bit more about, hopefully very soon.
Good. Well, I asked you about how to get into events, like if you were wanting to be involved with that. But if someone were looking for a job at the Academy or wanting to volunteer, how would they do that? Do they also call in, or? Again,
they would call. We do have a section of our website that has to do with if you're interested in employment. So someone can go on and complete that form, and then that form goes directly to Mrs. Sherry Hughes, who's the assistant director, and she reviews the applicant's materials. And then we may or may not have a conversation about that, but generally we do. So if someone wants to volunteer, we had almost 50 volunteers participate last year, but we always need more people. We also have an opportunity, and I'll mention this here. I've never made this comment publicly before, but I'm going to say it since you've asked me that question. The bylaws are new as of May 2022. So the Board of Trustees developed, approved, and passed a new collection of bylaws. And in that, there are ad hoc committee or volunteer committee needs to serve at the academy. Sometimes we think about volunteers just working the front desk, and many of our volunteers do work the front desk. Thank you all. But there are other needs at the academy. And again, these are areas where if someone has an interest in arts education and they want to be involved, they should call, or they should complete that form. They could say volunteer on the form, and we should be able to help find them something to do. Or maybe we'll find a class that they're interested in. So that would be another important opportunity.
That's good. So what you're saying is that you guys would need like the community support and
Always.
Always? Okay. So how do you guys support the community within that? So you need the community support. How does it go both ways?
It does. So we provide meeting space in the Cooper space, which is a downtown street-facing space which people can use, or I guess you might say it's a large meeting space. We've hosted community meetings, we've hosted weddings, we've hosted other forms of recitals and events. There'll be a job fair there later this spring, which is organized by the Richland Chamber. So we want to be involved with our community. And so I would say that what I mentioned earlier about the Renaissance group coming to the Academy for rehearsals and other activities like that, that's another form of partnership. Providing downtown dance performances or music performances during different festivals and downtown activities. So our inside the building rehearsals also find their way into the public. So it may be something in a downtown space, it may be something out at Shelby High School, it may be something out at Lexington High School, it may be something in the parking lot of the Buckeye Imagination Museum. We try to be good partners for all of these different performing and community partners.
Good. I really enjoy that. It's important to be within your community. What kind of new programs are you guys looking into? I know we talked about the history part of it, so what is like the future looking forward to?
Okay. Well, so I have said this in public before, but currently we're working on a variety of different ideas. For example, we had a film class in the fall. And the film class in the fall was managed by Andy Gardner and Jennifer Inscat, who have Leap Year Studios in downtown Mansfield. So they worked with 3 high schoolers, and they developed a film in the fall that was really unique. It's about a 5-minute film. And that's something we haven't done in the past. Now, it would make sense that we have a theater program. So I'm going to use theater as the jumping off point for this. Theater requires creative writing. Theater requires public performance. Theater leads nicely into film. So I'm going to suggest that we need to do more with creative writing. And that's not to move away from what's available in the public school systems or in private opportunities with creative writing. But creative writing leads to theater, leads to film. And so I hope we can do more of all of that. I hope we can do those programs and grow those programs. We'll have a film camp this summer. Hopefully we can have that class work with enrollment. And it really is about enrollment. We've applied for grant dollars for that. I will know more about the approval of that hopefully soon. But we're trying, to build programs out. We have a really strong martial arts program. And Jason Farnsworth, who teaches those classes during the week, I'm always curious. I want to talk to Jason some more about what it might look like to grow that program. The enrollment always is great for that. We have dance programs where we're offering new forms or areas of dance. So, and all of that is available on the website. So someone can look at all the variety of dance that we offer. So there might be new programs within dance that would be interesting to provide or to have more of, more workshops. On the music side, I would like to see us move toward ensembles. So what may or may not be available in someone's public school setting, or in a, I guess you might say, some of our families are homeschooling. So a good number of those families probably want a music experience that's a music ensemble, like a choir or a band. So when you ask me about future programs, I'm thinking about that too. Where if someone starts an instrument in 6th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade, but they may or may not play in the band or sing in the choir, that the Academy would provide a music-making community, much like we do for the 60-plus program, to encourage community and to provide people an opportunity to make music together. So those are just a few, and I hope that answers your question.
Yes, when I was talking about wanting to interview you for Richland Academy, I didn't even know what you guys did. So this interview really gave me some hindsight on what you guys do.
Good.
But as we're wrapping up here, is there anything else that you would like to talk about that I haven't asked you about in this interview?
Well, I'll mention this, and thank you for that opportunity, Kaylee. The Richland Academy of the Arts should provide something for all people in our community. It shouldn't just be a place for current students and families. It should be a place where if someone has an idea, they contact me. They can email me at mbenson@richlandacademy.com, and they can tell me what they need from an arts education experience. And again, we don't just serve school-age young people. We serve the entire community. We provide services and instruction to people from 6 counties around Richland County. So it's a diverse community. We have wonderful families. What would I want people to know? I would want them to know that everyone is welcome, that programs can be addressed, enrollment can be addressed. We provide something, and I guess this would be a great place for me to kind of finish up this conversation. We provide tuition assistance. So if a family says, well, we're not sure that we can afford to enroll our child or our family member in a program, if they meet financial need, we can provide tuition assistance to help them with enrollment. So this was something, again, longstanding, where the Board of Trustees should be recognized, and Mary Ann Cooper as founding director. They recognized that not everyone would be able to afford this, so they started setting back money and dollars, real money, real money that allowed us to award tuition assistance. So in 2022 and 2023, we awarded about $29,000 in scholarships. So hopefully that makes an impression on people who are hearing this today, that if someone wants to donate to the Richland Academy, you can restrict or earmark the money for the scholarships. We have a need where it comes to scholarships. So what do we want? We want to grow that program, those scholarship dollars. And this is a public, opportunity for me to say, if you have the wherewithal and you would like to change things for the better, that donation would be appreciated, because then we can continue to award financial support to families who want to have children involved in arts education.
Well, thank you, Michael. Like I said, I learned a lot. Hopefully the audience learned a lot about the Richland Academy too. And that is all the time we have today. So thank you for coming in. And as always, this is Public Affairs, and thank you for watching.